Why Leonor can't hold hands in public. The camera catches it in fragments. A pause. A space between hands that never closes. A gesture interrupted before it becomes visible. For Princess Leonor of Spain, touch is not a private language. It is a public signal. In monarchies, intimacy does not belong to the individual. It belongs to interpretation. What looks like affection to one observer becomes alignment to another. What feels harmless in the moment can echo for decades. This is not about romance. It is about meaning. From the outside, the rule appears severe. Almost unnatural. Human beings reach instinctively, but institutions do not run on instinct. They run on containment. In monarchy, intimacy becomes implication. 2 minutes in, the misunderstanding settles in. Most people assume the restriction exists to avoid scandal, to prevent distraction, to preserve an image. That is the shallow explanation. The real reason is permanence. A future head of state cannot create images that the institution cannot later control. Photographs outlive context. Gestures survive explanation. Once recorded, they are no longer hers. This is the living thread of continuity. Every visible connection invites a question. Who is this person? What do they represent? What influence might follow? The crown does not answer such questions. It avoids them. By 5 minutes, the rule returns, heavier now. Because once intimacy is public, neutrality collapses. History offers quiet warnings, not of love causing downfall, but of perception reshaping legitimacy. Monarchies do not fall from emotion. They erode from association. National identity is woven into these rituals. Not through warmth, through distance carefully maintained. At 8 minutes, a deeper tension emerges. The cost is not invisible. To move through crowds without touch. To stand beside others with deliberate space. To learn, early, that comfort must be postponed. The institution asks for this before authority is granted. That is the exchange. Human closeness delayed in service of symbolic endurance. At 10 minutes, the pressure begins to widen beyond Spain. In the United States, the restraint is read as message discipline. In the United Kingdom, it feels familiar, almost expected. In Canada and Australia, it reassures that the crown still understands representational limits. In Germany, it signals respect for the dangers of blurred symbolism. No one comments openly. They simply note what is absent. Absence, here, is the message. At 14 minutes, the point of no return arrives quietly. The rule stops feeling imposed. It becomes reflex. Hands remain still not because they must, but because they should. That distinction matters deeply to institutions. Because rules that require no enforcement have already succeeded. Yet the world outside the protocol is changing. Public life is increasingly informal. Leaders cultivate relatability. Touch is framed as authenticity. The monarchy cannot follow this path. It survives by resisting immediacy. At 19 minutes, the future strain takes shape. A generation raised on openness may read restraint as coldness. Distance as detachment. Control as irrelevance. The institution knows this risk. And still, it chooses caution. Because once symbolic boundaries soften, they rarely harden again. The final image returns to that space between hands. Not empty. Intentional. Not because affection is forbidden. But because once intimacy is seen, it no longer belongs to her. Continuity is not abstract here. It is embodied in posture, spacing, restraint. The gesture never happens. The moment passes. And the institution continues forward, unchanged. For now.